The Democratic Alliance claims it has its own solutions for the troubled Charlotte Maxeke Academic Hospital. The party's Gauteng health spokesperson Jack Bloom is live with us now to discuss this ahead of their press briefing later. Mr. Bloom, thank you for your time. We're hearing from the health department in Gauteng that the hospital will only be fully functional probably in 2023. What do you have to say about that?
Well, I think that's far too long, and that's only for the sections of the hospital that are structurally safe. They're not even talking about the fire damage sections, and you know it's a catastrophe. People are suffering. There's 2,000 outpatients a day who should be going to the hospital, but they're not getting treatment. And the DA thinks that the way forward is to not leave it to a very dysfunctional infrastructure development department, which frankly never builds things on times and within budget. We need a private-public partnership. We need to use the best brains in the private sector and get this hospital open. But honestly, to set such a large date ahead in time, and which they're not likely to meet based on previous experience, I think is unthinkable.
Jack, it's probably not a bad idea, but practically, how do you get something like that sold to the ANC?
Well, they have done private-public partnerships in the past, and they can just apply for Treasury approval and get it done. They must just do it efficiently and effectively. You know, it's going to cost several hundred million rand to fix this hospital, and I hope there aren't companies out there wanting to get tenders, you know, the usual corruption that we've seen and irregularities. I think this has got to be done properly. Can I just give you an example of how badly the Infrastructure Development Department performs? They took 11 years to rebuild the psychiatric ward of the Charlotte Maxeke Johannesburg Hospital. No fewer than 4 different contractors had to be brought in because 3 of the contractors failed. It was 3 times over budget just for a simple project like fixing up a psychiatric ward. And they're simply not capable of doing a large project like fixing this hospital. We have very, very capable people in the private sector. If we cut out the corruption, if we gave it to the best private sector brains and construction companies, let them get on with the job, I'm sure we can open the hospital far sooner and then leaving it to a government department that frankly has never delivered on its promises.
Jack, I would think an adversarial approach to this when you're going to open the discussion with the ANC is not necessarily going to win your idea any prizes. What approach can you take, and what are you actually going to do with this approach?
Well, look, we've already been in touch with private sector people who are willing to offer their expertise, including a person who was involved with the original building of this hospital in the mid-70s. And I think they must take a mature approach. They must put the patients first. That's really what we should all be thinking about. There are thousands of patients who are not receiving the specialist treatment that they really need. They're suffering, and frankly, people are dying. Other hospitals in Gauteng are totally overcrowded, particularly Helen Joseph Hospital, and they must put the people first. That's really what it boils down to. So South Africa has many wonderful, skilled people who can certainly help out. We saw this when we had 2 hospitals, Helen Joseph and Rahima Musa Hospital, that didn't have water because of water failures, and Gift to the Givers stepped in and drilled boreholes in no time at all. Now, I think it's that sort of can-do spirit that we need. We need to cut the red tape. We need to get all the best brains, the people who can make things work, and get this hospital open. And I'd appeal to the ruling party that they put the people first, and let's all work together and open this hospital as soon as possible.
Jack, have you approached the infrastructure MEC in Gauteng, Tasneem Motara, on this?
We will be holding a media conference shortly, and we will be approaching the department and, of course, raising this in the Gauteng provincial legislature. I think it's the mature thing to do. It's the way forward, and I hope they put the interests of the people of this province first, and hopefully we get this hospital going as soon as possible.
Thank you so much. The DA's Jack Bloom. Let's hope that politics and big egos don't stop the work and progress on the rebuilding of Charlotte Maxeke Hospital.